Okay, I'm live with Rockstar Realtor Andrea McDonald. Andrea has a beautiful Instagram page, which we should call out. What is the Instagram?
It's Andrea McDonald _homes.
Okay, so beautiful Instagram with all these beautiful designs of homes that she's helped purchase, helped sell, as well as I think just interior design inspiration. She seems to know a lot about this stuff. Very aesthetically minded, I would say. And so I wanted to ask her about design ideas for real estate. Maybe we could start with, what do you find that most people don't know about home design that maybe they should, or that would help them with like selling their homes or even just designing their own homes for their own use?
Sure. Yeah. I think design doesn't have to be as complicated as people think. Some people get really overwhelmed with the process. Like I get a lot of comments from clients on that, like, I don't even know where to start, or, what to do when it comes to design. There's a million amazing resources out there. I think the most important thing is kind of finding what you like, right? Like, yes, you want to have a design aesthetic that if you're going to sell your house, that maybe a lot of people are going to enjoy, but you have to live in that house, right? So what colors do you like? How do you like functionality of your kitchen? Like what things do you need in there? And then, research different websites or design companies and just start to like hone in and narrow down what you're drawn to, right? Like what lights you up. There's certain photos that I look at on Pinterest and I like save them. I send it to my husband, like, do you like feel this?
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, when I look at this photo, like it makes me so happy.
Yeah.
And it's like a bathroom. And he's like, oh, cool. But there's like just certain design that like makes people happy, right? So what makes you happy in design? Like what is it that you have to live in the space, right? So what are you going to create that makes you feel comfortable and want to be in there?
What are your top resources for finding out and researching what design styles you like and what kind of lights you up?
For sure. So I follow a ton of different designers and home builders on Instagram. And then I'm like,
Could you call some of them out? Like
sure.
your favorite
So
one?
I love like Studio McGee is like one of my all-time favorites. Rose and Funk, which is a designer out of BC that I'm actually using for my personal home build. They're amazing.
Oh, cool.
What else is there? Becky Evans is a really great account. Like she posts like a ton of just different homes all the time. Veranda Homes Estate, which I think is another BC one. Monica Hibbs.
Are you using Pinterest?
Pinterest I use, yeah, because I'm in the build process right now. So I have like Pinterest boards for like every single room in my house right now of like things that I like. And, I find going on Pinterest is like a deep, deep rabbit hole that you can get stuck in, which is amazing. But, if what's cool about that is if you Google or if you like look up a certain thing in Pinterest that you're looking to, like rain shower heads or something like that, or a certain color of flooring, Pinterest, once you click on it, will then bring up similar images, right? So then you're like, oh, actually, I really like this. And then you can start kind of building on that. And I think what's also important is zoning in on that one design, because sometimes you can go into a property and it's like they wanted it to be modern, like, but then it went really contemporary or like, right? Because they like too much stuff. Where it's like if you pick a very distinct style, you have to stick with that throughout, right? Like if you build a modern house, the interior has to be modern. Do you know what I mean? Like it can have warm aspects.
Yeah, how much can you match the exterior with the interior? Like a lot of homes are kind of cookie cutter, like subdivision homes.
For sure. So then I think, then you can kind of do whatever you want, right? But it's when it's built a certain way with, certain cabinetry or colors or, design of the cupboards, I guess, like the profiles, you've got to kind of roll with that.
Yeah, like if you got a log cabin, you're probably not doing like a warehouse kind of design.
Exactly. Yeah. So you just kind of have to figure out what it is that you love and roll with that.
Okay. What are some of the most desirable things you look for in home designs when helping clients buy or sell a home?
For sure. So it's going to depend on price point, because certain price point is going to afford you different types of finishes or features. So in like the more higher end, in bathrooms, for example, especially in like the master bath, we're looking for heated floors. there's usually, your standard shower head and then a rain shower head as well. And you usually have like a separate soaker tub. You're going to have, your kitchen is typically going to have the extended cabinetry up to the ceiling, opposed to when it's stopped lower. You're going to have updated flooring, usually hardwood throughout, neutral paint colors, built-ins, that you kind of find when you're purchasing in certain price ranges, there should be that standard level of finishes that you're going after for sure.
If someone can't do hardwood flooring, what's the next step down that you'd recommend?
A lot of people are doing vinyl or laminate. And where that has come over the past 10 years is amazing, because sometimes I'm even like, oh, hold on, let me just tap on this and make sure. I'm not sure which one it is. So, the laminate that we had 10, 15 years ago was looked upon like, oh, you have laminate, but now there's beautiful finishes that look a lot like real wood. Vinyl's really great, especially for a basement as well, because it's really durable with water and stuff too. So it's good for high traction areas, and there's some really nice products out there.
Do certain designs go in and out of style? Are there, I guess the obvious answer is yes, but are there timeless designs, I guess is what I'm looking for, that never go out of style?
For sure. I think more neutral colors are always going to be the more timeless. I was having this conversation with the designer that we're using the other day, because I said, normally I'm a white kitchen girl. I love white kitchens. They're beautiful, but I'm seeing all of these other pictures right now where it's, the wood, the all wood, the light wood kitchens. And they're beautiful, but he's in 5 years, is it still going to be the trend right now? Right. So in certain areas, there's different ways to update a space where you can keep the majority of the larger renovation neutral and classic, right? You might be able to switch out a backsplash in your kitchen, or you can totally change a space by just updating the lighting somewhere, or, painting a wall, or adding new furniture, different cushions. And, there's ways that you can change a space without having to do a major renovation. So the more of a classic timeless style you can do, the better. And I think a big part of that is staying away from splashy colors, or, that whatever is super on trend, or finding a way to do what's on trend, but dying it down a little bit. Right?
Where do these trends come from, do you think?
Oh, I don't know. Just from, other designers. They're usually somewhere in Europe, and then they get passed on, and designers come out with the newest trends every year, and they evolve, and some of them come through fashion, and it's this very cool, everything's intertwined in the design world that way.
So it's a cultural thing.
I think so. With, architecture, things change, and, older styles get reborn again, and, given a more modern twist.
So even if you have a timeless design with the light colors, the neutral colors, how often do you still have to update things to kind of keep it updated over the years?
It seems like most people, if they're going to continue to do renovations, it's maybe every 15-ish years.
To do a big
kitchen or something like that. But again, depending on how neutral you made it, you may not need to do a full-blown renovation, right? Some properties are beautiful for 20 plus years. But I would say, even if you're not trying to be too trendy, styles do change, or your own personal taste changes. I think the taste that I had for my very first house to what we're planning to build is very different.
How have you seen design trends change over? How long have you been a realtor now? 15 plus years? 15 years?
15, yeah.
So over the last 15 years, have you seen a certain trend that was there that's gone? How have things changed over the last 15 years?
Yeah, for sure. So I think a lot of what we saw was we went through the grays, right? If we're just looking at even at colors, right? Everything went gray walls, gray flooring. We went through the whole gray phase. Then it got lighter. It went to the grayish era, okay. Right? Where it was a mix of gray and beige. And then now I find there's more warm tones and browns and woods, and that type of stuff coming through again.
In a certain type of property, or like all properties?
I think
investment properties.
in general, because you can even see it if you're buying like a new build, when you go to the design center, in terms of how they have their design boards, those evolve over time, right? Where, 10, 15 years ago, they didn't probably have, I'm sure they did, but it wasn't as popular to have like black hardware or black faucets and those types of touches, where a lot of homes that you go into now that have gone through renovations will have those types of features, right? Or you'll see it a lot with, brass and the golds and tarnished metal look, has really taken a surge over the last couple of years, where, in the 80s, it was that like gold, right? And that's not cool anymore, but it's like taken on its own life. Like,
yeah, like the gaudy
more like the
kind of gold,
antique looking and stuff. So you'll see it a lot in finishes for, lighting style, or, faucets, flooring. I find like for a while, like that, I remember in our very first house in Oakville, the super, super dark, shiny hardwood was like the coolest thing. So we're so happy to put these like beautiful dark floors in. And when they're clean, they're perfect. And then like one piece of dust falls and you're like, oh my gosh, why did I put these floors in?
Yeah.
Right. But then now the trend for flooring is all like the white oak and like the, the larger boards versus like the, 3 to 4 inch. People are putting like 7-inch boards. So those types of things change over time for sure.
And you generally recommend keeping up to date with those? Like if someone were to put in new hardwood or new vinyl flooring, you'd recommend the wider boards?
For sure. Yeah. If you're doing that today, definitely, because that's what people like and what they're going for.
So can you look at like the new builders, whether it's single family homes or condos, as kind of the trend leaders? Like, okay, these guys know what's hot right now, what's selling. I can kind of model my home after that.
I think to an extent, because a lot of those builders are pulling in like designers or design companies that they're working closely with to like pick all their finishes, to do, the architectural layouts and designs and stuff. So yeah, for sure.
Okay. And my last question is, are there certain areas in Ontario that have different design styles that you kind of see? Like maybe Oakville, Burlington, where you do a lot of work, is going to be separate from St. Catharines or Hamilton, or I know if you get into cottages, it all changes, right? Because it's cottage vibes.
For sure. Yeah, I think there's a big mix of styles, and it's personal preference in terms of what you like. So we kind of joke that in certain pockets of Oakville, we'll call it like, it's like the Oakville special, where you can kind of get like, they're beautiful, they're custom homes, but I can tell you like what that's going to look like on the inside, because that was like and still is like the big rage of like more of a contemporary style right now. And then you've got like some beautiful moderns kind of put in with all of that as well. But I would say in general, in most of these areas, they would be a bit more like traditional or contemporary. Then you can go out more like towards the beaches or in older areas of Toronto, where homes can be pretty eclectic, because you're working with like 100-old, townhouse where it's like exposed brick, and then they're bringing in like modern elements for that new age feel, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, I guess, just the types of homes you're working with.
For sure.
And those older homes have so much character.
Yeah, you can do,
and you can kind of
those are really cool to see in some of those pockets in Toronto, because it's you get all those really cool old features that you can't change like the structure of what it is. But then bringing in the modern finishes, and it's like a really cool juxtaposition against each other. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I think that's all the questions I have. Do you want to call it the Instagram again?
Sure. It's Andrea McDonald _homes.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Andrea.
Thanks.